Hello and welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop Streamed, your one stop for co-op news and playthroughs. And today I am playing through Testament. This is a game that is like Warhammer Adventure card game or Heroes of Terranoth. It's a card-based game where you are taking 4 adventurers on a basically a boss fight here. So the first boss you fight against is this raging boar, and there are many other stages you're going to play against, but basically it's a boss battler game where it is all card based. So I'm going to talk you through how to create a character here today, and then I am going to talk you through or walk you through the first mission. My goal is not to play through every mission, but to show you the first mission and the last mission. So I'm sure I'm going to have a video with that one because I've already played through the whole game. We have a podcast about it coming out this week on the YouTube or on the regular podcast channel. Sorry, I'm connecting YouTube so I can see your comments, because that's the other part about this. If this is your first time joining us, thank you for joining us. We do live playthrough here, and there's a couple important things about that. Number one is I may make some mistakes along the way. It's hard while I'm talking to the stream and trying to do this all on my own, so I apologize if any of that happens. You can look at the Klingon subtitles if you're watching this later on. Hopefully I will have corrected my mistakes there if there were any egregious mistakes. But just be forgiving, please. That's the one thing we ask. And then the other thing is we want this to be very interactive. So please, if this is your first time joining us or if you've been with us 100 times, feel free to chat in and we'd love to hear from you. Have you had a chance to play Testament? Have you played Heroes of Terranoth? Have you played Warhammer Adventure card game? Have you played any of those? Again, they're all based on a very similar system. The first 2 developed by the Sadler brothers, and this one was not. This was a different designer, but he's done some interesting things, and we get into the talks about that on the podcast. But let's talk about the different heroes we have here. We have 6 different choices of heroes, and you'll see there's a couple of things to note about them. First of all, they're all going to be at rank 1, but they have different ranks. They have 1 through 5, and the only real differences, with the different ranks is, why does it keep drawing it to my head? There's 1 through 5, but now I see it because it's a card. This might be interesting. How do we change it between the different ranks? If anybody knows that, let me know. Oh, right click. Let me do that. There you go. State, we could change it. So they can be different ranks as well, but really the only difference you're going to see is the hit points. So hit points are in this box here. That's how many points before they get knocked down. This is how much aggression they can have. I believe all heroes can have 5. Yep. Aggression tokens or aggro tokens. Then there's how many shields they can have. So the more shields they can have, obviously, the more defensive they can be. Then how many buffs they can have on them over here. So that's pretty generic for most of the characters. There's a little bit of variance, but not a whole lot. Certainly more so with the hit points than most of the other stuff. But then they may have something over here. So like this character gets an extra starting skill at the beginning of the game. So at the beginning of the game, normally you're going to get 4 starting skills. This character can get a 5th one. Over here they get an extra level up. We'll explain what all that means later. This person can get an extra item. We're not playing with items, so we're going to take this character out right away from the beginning. And then this one can empower +1, meaning all your skills over here, they'll have abilities on the bottom. You'll see with the star ability, this tells you how many times you can empower it. So this costs 2 stars to empower it, gets you +1 shield, and you could do that 1 time. Well, this character gives you +1 empower, if you notice in that little gray box here. And what that means is instead of being able to empower this ability once, they could do it twice. Or more importantly, for some of the other skills, you can empower them multiple times, which is important. All right, so that tells us, and then they all have an ability here, which is kind of like their ultimate. So we're going to go ahead, and as we defeat monsters and as we get these lightning bolts, we're going to power up this ability. And when it gets to the end, one of our characters, we're going to get to use one of those special abilities each time this gets to the end of the track and we rest with that character. But I'll go over what all that means in a little bit. All right, so let's pick our 4 starting characters. Well, I kind of want a tanky character. That's a good one over here. I definitely want, who's the one who gets an extra starting skill? This is my monk character. I love making this character kind of hand-to-hand melee expert over here, so we'll work on that. We're going to be rolling these dice later, but we don't need them there right now. All right, so this is going to be our first character, and then we're going to have our tank over here, and then let's see. I kind of want a healer, and I want a kind of couple all-around characters. let's go with +1 level up. I like that. All right, we'll go with that. And we will go with, we'll do this for our mage-like character over here. All right, so I'm going to put these over here. And these are going to be our 4 starting characters. You always have to have 4 characters no matter how many people you're playing with. You're going to get 4 characters. And again, if I'm going too fast or if you have any questions, please feel free to chat them in. So you have these 6 different aspects. So each character is going to start with 4 starting cards, except for this character who gets +1 starting skill over here. So we're going to get 4 starting cards. Let's go over what those different types of cards could be. Fortress is more defensive. You got Cool Hunt. These kind of move you along the track. There's going to be a track up here we're going to be moving down. It moves you down that track faster, and kind of also helps you do some things, deal with other types of characters. So it's like a pathfinding skill. Very much lets you manipulate your board and things. These are melee attacks right here. You'll notice that's the attack symbol. That's melee attacks. These are healing skills. Definitely going to need some of those. These are boosting skills. These either boost your characters or debuff enemy characters. So it's nice to have a little bit of that in the party as well. And the last one is more attacks. These are magical attacks. So energy bolt over here. All right, so honestly, it's kind of boring, but I like putting a defensive skill on all my characters. I may change that later, but there are 4 cards. I kind of like to spread them around so everybody gets one, and you'll see why. It has to do with this. There's a lot of information on this card. I guess here tells you what level it is. So this is your level 1 skill. This tells you how it's going to boost your points. It affects your rank basically. If you see over here, this is like -4 and less gets you rank 1. So having a 3 up here boosts up the number here, which means you're probably going to be a higher rank than you would otherwise. So I like getting everybody a blue skill just to help them rank up a little bit. But again, this is all on you, however you want to build your characters. All right, so this, normally each character gets 4 skills. And I'm cheating a little bit, by the way. This is a build that I've used before a little bit. I am going to make a little bit of a tweak to it today. So we'll see. But one of the fun parts, for me at least anyway, is building all these different characters and building them different each time. All right, so we got these pathfinding skills. We got the melee skills though. And if you notice with the melee skills, they kind of combo together. When you use a melee damage skill, add +2 to the damage. So normally this would do 1 damage, but you'll see this little exhausted or tap symbol here. As long as this card is tapped, it's going to add +1 to every other melee skill that you have. So these kind of combo within themselves. So I'm going to put all 4 of them right over here on our first starting character. And actually, let's just move all of this stuff a little bit to the left. So this character is going to have 4 melee skills and a defensive skill. So let's figure out how to figure out their rank. So we get +3 points, -1, -1, -1, -1. So that is going to be for a total of -1. And if you look, that's usually the 3 characters. So let's go to the state 3. And yeah, you'll notice down here it says -1 to 1 is going to be rank 3. So that's how many hit points they're going to have. That is going to be our rank, except we do get to level up a little bit before we start. So that is not our permanent rank, but just so you get an idea of what does what and how I'm determining things. All right, so for my tank, let's see. I like to have pathfinding skill over here. Actually, he's going to do some damage with this. And you know what? I'm going to give him 2 damage dealing skills over here. Because you'll notice, so these are the level 1 skills. But then, for example, we'll take the skills we're dealing with, which are the magic skills here. They can fork off to, that's not the magic skills. Where's magic over here? Here they are. The nice part is how they laid this out. They can fork off into 2A or 2B and different type of attacks over here. The nice part over here is you have to suffer 3 damage. And if you do that, then you suffer 3 damage to do 3 damage. But then as it goes down, you suffer 3 damage. You only have to suffer 1 damage to do 3 damage. But bottom line, I don't mind my tank having a couple of these skills over here, because those are going to kind of give me a little bit of opportunity to soak that damage, because my tank's going to have more hit points naturally. All right. And then this character is going to kind of be an all-around. So I Actually, which one do I want it to be? Well, this one with the extra level up, I actually want to be that character. All right, so this is going to be kind of an all-around character. We'll have an energy bolt over here. We will have one of these, so you can buff up characters over here, and a little bit of healing as well on this character. So a little bit of everything. This character is going to be a little bit of a healer as well as some more pathfinding skills. I'm actually going to go down the path twice this time, and you'll see why later. She's going to kind of, so no damage dealing ability over here, but she's going to kind of power up my other characters. And that's how I'm going to start things off. We're not going to need these level 1 skills anymore because none of our characters can get them now. So I'll just go ahead and delete them. And now we've built a basic build for our characters. But before we get started, we actually get to level some stuff up. So let's look at our first character. Everybody gets 1 free level up. So I'm going to level up one of these rabbit punches over here. And which way do I want to go down? I can either remove an aggression from myself, and I'll explain what all that means, or this gives me plus, you know what, I'm going to go down this path. That'll let me not get killed as easily. Be able to put that aggression on other people. So this one is 1 damage. You know what? You're my tank. We're going to bring this over here, and we're going to make you suffer some damage to do some damage. So we'll give you this skill over here. And again, we're going to figure out the ranks in a second as soon as I decide all my skills. So this one gets Empower +1, so they're going to be able to do stuff multiple times. We're going to, actually, we're going to power up this person's healing, maybe? Nah, I want some more damage early on. Forget healing. If I go down, I go down. If I go down, I'm going to go down swinging. Do I want to go down this path or do I want to go down this path? Let's see what's down at the bottom of this. So this gives you plus targets. This gives you plus targets. I'm going to do this one. Okay. And the reason is, remember we talked about empowering skills. Remember this character can empower the skill 1 additional time. So I'm going to be able to do 1 damage. But this says I can empower this 2 times. With my character 3 times. For 0 stars, I get to pick a different target. So I get to do 1 damage to up to 4 different targets here, or if I add stars in, I can add damage and do it to different targets too. So it just gives me a lot of flexibility with how I'm gonna add damage, things like that. So that's gonna be this character's power up, and then this one, I am going to maybe power up my heal, but actually no, my pathfinding skills are really what I'm looking at for this one. So let's start with one of the pathfinding skills and figure out which path I want to go down. Now I'm looking for something very specific here. This is the one. So, do I want to do it that way though, or no, this one, silent kill. Oh no, that's damage. This one buffs and this one damages, but both of them let me return any number of skills on cooldown to not being on cooldown. You know what? I'm going to go down both paths eventually, I think. But to start with, let me go down to buffing path so I have a little bit more buffing power at the beginning. Now, I got another one. I guess I could theoretically change this too, but I think I actually want to get a little bit better heal over here. Let's do that. We're going to move this over here, and we'll just take a nice single target heal. Instead of being +4 to healing, it'll be +6 to healing. With better chances to empower it. All right, and again, if anybody has any questions about the game, let me know, but let's figure out our ranks for all characters. So we already figured out this one is, I changed this to a 0 now. So it's 3 minus 3 will get me to 0. So they're exactly at 0, they're right in the middle at the rank. This one is 3 minus 3 minus 2, so our tank is not going to be very tanky from the beginning. So maybe I want to level up this skill a little bit, but actually has the same number of hit points, but a lower rank over here. But he can have more shielding, so not too bad. Let's figure out where we are over here. Ooh, 3, 4, minus 4, minus 2, so I'm minus 2. So this character, that's probably going to be state 2. Yep, so -2 to -1, so hopefully, because 10 hit points is not a lot. That is not good at all. I'm going to have to try to get this up a little bit. So let's see this character. We've got 3 for the fortress. -1 over here, so that's 2. +1 is 3. So actually, this character has 3 +3 over here. So they're going to be a little more tanky even than than my tank potentially. Is that 4? Yep, +3. That is rank 4. So my most hit point character. So this is the character I'm really the most worried about. And they do generate some threat over here. So that is something. Now I can remove threat over here. And I'll explain how all that works when we get into the game. All right, but so now we've built our characters. That to me is one of the coolest parts of the game, is just building your characters differently. However you want to build it, you can build it differently each time. I think last time I actually had a second, I didn't have 2 attack skills here. I had another defensive skill over here, and this character didn't have a defensive skill. I think they had a second healing skill. So I'm just kind of mess with it a little bit. They definitely didn't have 2 green skills either. So just kind of messing with my build a little bit, trying to do something a little different. But, so now I've built my team. Let's look at the enemy. How do they work? All right, so I'm going to shuffle up all the like little minions, and we have to get through all these stages to try to get to the boss, and then kill the boss is our end goal, and all the minions that are engaged with us. So, how a turn works is very simple. Oh, and the boss is going to have 8 life per stage, and you have to beat the boss 3 times. So very simply, you move the round marker 1 space, and that tells us to spawn 2 minions. So we do that. Oh my goodness. We got a honey ooze. All right. So after we spawn things, we are going to get to attack, and then the enemies will activate, and then this moves down the thing again. Let's look at these. So this one has 6 life. So they are going to remove 2 things from us. Those could be shields, those could be buffs, whatever it is. And again, we'll explain it as it goes along. Then they're going to do 1 damage to the person who is aggroed, and we'll get over how that happens in a minute. Then they're going to add 1 to every minion's attacks after them, including the boss, if we were in a boss phase. Now this one is going to attack for 3, then attack for 2, then attack for 1. But again, being buffed by this honey ooze here, it's going to be 4, 3, and 2 damage. And that is all going to be to the same target because there's nothing to change the aggro. Now again, it may change, like if 2 people have the same rank here and the same number of aggro tokens, you can decide who they attack each time. But that's going to be a lot of damage. My goal here is to mini-mite, is to get rid of this mini-mite here. The ooze isn't too bad, but my goal is also to move down this path, skipping this 2 right here, so I don't have to spawn 2. Because these key spaces don't spawn anybody, and not only that, but if there are no minions on the board when you get to one of those key spaces, then it gives a permanent damage to the boss when you get there for each of their stages. So it'd be really nice to be able to skip it. If I can't get this key space, I'm going to try to skip this also to get here, because I got a couple of path finding skills that are going to help me move. So let's start at the beginning though, and I want to move 1 space with one of my characters just to get to that key space next, and I gotta kill this mini-mite. That is for darn sure. Alright, so let's see. How am I going to start this? Well, I can do 3 right here. So there you go. That's gonna be that. Alright, so I'm going to do 1 damage here. That's all this card. Oh, wait. Don't do that. Forgot. I get to roll some dice first. And you get these stars. And that's how you power up your skills. All right, so I just got 2 stars, and I get to decide, this is the first character, who I want to give those to. So he's going to give 1 to himself, and then he's going to give 1 to, who do we want to give 1 to? This person will probably do this, so we'll do that. Is there anything I want to do while I'm moving? Nope. Okay. All right. So, and again, we'll get into what all the stuff on the card means as we get there. All right. So first things first, I am going to, ooh, wait, did I really put that dice there? That is not where I meant to put it. Excuse me. I want that dice right here. All right. So I'm going to use this melee skill to do 1 damage. And it says when you use a melee damage skill, you add +2 to that. But I don't get to do that. That's if it's exhausted, all my other cards get boosted by that. So, and then if I boost it, if you'll see on the bottom here, it says add a boost to yourself. So that will allow me later on to use these buffs to buff other things. So for example, I could buff this to stun the target who's not the boss, or buff this to give myself some, so a buff, I'm sorry, the buff works exactly like a star. So I'm basically delaying that star till later. So it lets me use a star here to stun an enemy, which basically means they don't get to do any activate this round, or I could use it over here if I had 2 stars to give myself an extra shield when I do this action here. So this is basically buffing yourself to get yourself stuff later on down the road. But I'm going to do 1 damage, and we're going to do it to the honeydews. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what the heck? You just told... Oh, no, I'm not. I'm sorry. I am going to do it to this one over here. I decided I was not using this skill. Ooh. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. We will do this. I'm sorry. 1 damage to the mini-mite. Now, my quote-unquote tank is going to do this skill here. So if you'll notice, I didn't talk about this number on the lower right. That adds to your aggro. That means the enemies are more likely to attack you. The person with the most aggro tokens, and you can all hold up to 5, will be the one to get attacked. So I get an aggro token. Let's start with that. And then I have to suffer 3 damage, and then I get to do 3 damage. So I'm going to do 3 damage to take care of this mini-mite. Let's put him over here. And then, when you defeat an enemy, you get to move this down the track. There are other ways to move it, but that is the main way you're going to do it, is by defeating minions. Alrighty, and don't forget to suffer 1, 2, 3 damage myself. Which is not great, gotta be honest. These are huge tokens. I made them bigger, and that looks like a mistake. Well, I will maybe have to remedy that later, but for now, I got 3 damage. Alright, now, let's move on to my next character, and they are going to do this. They are going to buff or debuff somebody, so they could debuff this right here. So I don't remove tokens, and actually that seems like a good idea to me. So actually, let me just do this now. Let me shrink this a little bit, and I'm going to pull out a debuff, and boop, it covers that spot right there. So now they don't do that ability anymore. So debuffing, as you can see, works kind of cool. And then I use the star. The star lets me buff or debuff a second character. And you know what? I want to start buffing this character down here. So I will take a buff token. And actually, I'm going to change this one out. Oh, looks like the same size. Maybe I didn't do that. Maybe these are just giant heart tokens. And I need to fix that. I will make these a little bit smaller just so we can see, at some point how much damage I actually have. And they fit nicely on the card. All right, so let us get to our last character, and this is going to be the Cool Hunt over here. So deal 1 damage to 1 mob and move one of these darker tokens, or black, red, or blue tokens, from any hero to another. Those only come out during the boss fight, so those aren't here yet. But I'm going to get to deal a damage to a mob, and I'm going to get to move 1 space down the path. All right, well, we're going to deal 1 damage to this mob, obviously. And then we're going to move 1 space down the path. Now, that does not mean we add monsters. That only happens at the beginning of the turn. So we are 1 space further down the path, getting closer to this last space, which says spawn 2 minions and bring out the boss. So we're moving down. And that's going to exhaust that card. And you might say to yourself, well, wait a minute. You all have exhausted cards. How do you want to exhaust them? At any time for your action, oops, let me make sure. No, nobody else got any aggression tokens. At any time, instead of exhausting a card to take that action, you can unexhaust all your cards. You remove 2 aggro tokens from yourself to get rid of them. Or if you've used your 4th skill, so you've used all of your skills, you can then unexhaust them for free without basically spending a whole turn doing it. So that's how that works. But let's get into aggression and how that works and how the enemies activate right now. So this enemy is going to activate. Well, we debuffed their first skill, so they're going to do 1 damage. And how do we determine who they attack? The person with the most aggression tokens is the first tiebreaker, so the first thing. Honestly, Holland is the only one with an aggression token right now. And then the next tiebreaker would be rank. Whoever has a lower rank would break ties. So he is going to attack the people, or the enemies are going to attack the people with the lowest health typically, because lower rank typically means lower health. So I am going to remove these 3 ones over here. And I want to even make them smaller than that. Gosh. All right, we're going to take out a 4. Maybe we'll keep that one a little bit bigger. So now Holland is on 4 damage. And that is 1 round of Testament. Let's keep going. And so end of the round, I'm sorry, you move this down. That's the last thing in the round. And typically after an enemy activates, you move them down. to mark that they've already activated. That's how you can stun enemies, do things like that. Or sometimes they'll, I'll talk about this space in a second. Sometimes they'll attack you before you get to attack them. In those cases, so when there's a fire space, it means they activate their abilities first. Now, when they come in after they've activated their abilities, you move them down to show that they've activated. Now so that's like you're being ambushed. Now, not every minion would ambush you in this space here. Only the newly placed ones would. So, as an example, I'll just shuffle these up. This would come in. He'd attack twice, so this is an attack as well. It just means you cannot block it with shields. So he'd attack for 2 damage, then he'd attack for 3 damage, and then he'd be activated, so down. Then the second one would come in. This green symbol means to everybody. He would make everybody exhaust a card. Now this breaks the rule for automatically unexhausting once you've exhausted your last card. If you are exhausted by an enemy, then you don't get to auto exhaust. The only way you can get all your abilities back is to take a rest action yourself and remove that 2 aggro and unexhaust all your cards. So he'd do that, attack for 4 and attack for 2. And again, if you're looking at these, there's nothing to change the aggro tokens in between that, so all that damage is probably going to go on one of your heroes. But since we know what those are, I'm going to shuffle those back up, and that way we don't have to, we don't know what's coming for us. All right, so that was the end of the round. We move this token down to change the starting player for the next round, and then we're going to move on. So we got to a key space. First thing we evaluate is, are there monsters? Yes, there is. There's at least one monster on here. Means we do not get a free damage on the boss for each of their phases. But we don't spawn any more monsters either, so not the worst thing in the world. I'd love to take this one out this turn. I don't know if it's going to be possible. Here we go. I do have a way to... So this... Oh, no. All right. So here's where timing is important here, right? So I told you a couple ways to unexhaust yourself, but this card actually lets you return a skill on any hero to the ready position, which is great for returning this skill, which does 3 damage to the ready position, right? And then I'd be good to go. But here's the negative. This character goes after this character because this is the first character. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 this time. But this character gets +2 damage to their attack. So we've already got 2 damage here, and we've got 1 more over here. And I think I'm going to Pathfind with this character, which we already saw does a damage as well. So actually, this character alone could take him out. So I'll probably focus on healing with this one, and with this one, maybe he'll just shield himself up. Nothing wrong with that. Getting a little shielding going, and then getting ready for next turn, where hopefully I do this to unexhaust my good attack cards or whatever. All right, so that is my plan for now. Let's roll the 2 dice. So this is one of the random factors in the game. Is at the beginning of each round you roll these 2 dice. So it almost gave me the best side on the dice, which is get 2 stars and roll again and keep rolling. But this does give me 1 soul over here. So we move this down the track. So this dice doesn't do anything. Now I don't have a whole lot of stars here. So let's see what my plans are. This is going to move down the track. That'll do a damage. I'd like to take this character out, so my goal here is I'm going to skip this adding 2, and then I want this character taken out, this last minion, so when I go here, I am not going to I'm going to be able to add a damage to the key there. So, and actually, seeing that there's a 3 after this, I will probably just rest this character, getting back my ability to cool hunt and skip that 3 space as well. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into this game. So this character is probably going to rest. That is my plan, at least anyway, for now. This character is going to heal. I don't need any extra boosting on the heal, although if I do use, I might do this. If I spend 1 star, this generates 0 aggression instead of the 1 that it would normally generate. I don't really want my 10 life character having aggression on them, so that kind of feels like where I want to put this. The other thing is I could build up aggression tokens over here, but honestly, at this point with these skills, he's not using that much aggression. He needs 1 for a stun, but or star abilities, but yeah, I'm not going to worry about that. All right, so let's Pathfind. We're going to move. We're going to do 1 damage. Ba-dink dink. So that's the 2nd damage over here. Then, oh, and don't forget the more important part, moving past this ambush. We snuck right by it. They didn't even see us coming. All right, so my second character is here. It's going to heal for 4. And again, so for 1, I could either heal for 2 more. Well, I don't need to. He only has 4 damage on him, so let's go ahead and take that off. So I'm going to heal for those 4. My other option is the skill generates no aggression or no aggro. So I'm going to do that. So get out of here. So that generated no aggro, but again, exhausted, so I can't do that. This character is going to rest. I know it seems kind of silly, but I really want this pathfinding skill, so I can skip this 3 space here. It would take 2 aggro tokens off of myself. Well, I don't have any. All right, so this character is going to punch. I need to do 4 damage here. I do 2 for all my melee skills, but if I did 1 of these, I'd only do 1 extra. So I'm going to have to use my Serpent Tail, my upgraded skill. Thank goodness I did upgrade that skill. I would remove an aggro token for myself, but I don't have any, so that's not the important part. The important part is I could stun the minion, but no need to do that because I'm doing 2 damage plus 2 for this skill. That's 4 damage. Boom, boom, boom. Let me see you say bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, so Honey Ooze is gone, which gives me another soul over here, which is making me happy. All right. So I am done with all of my characters. It's the end of the round. The enemies would activate, but there's nothing to do. So now we're going to start with Palicette as my starting character. So let's go ahead and move the round marker. Now there are no minions here now, so which is really good for us because we do get to put a permanent heart on one of these key markers, which means the boss, when the boss comes out, is gonna, and I'll just put it here, have 1 damage on them already each time the boss comes out. So that's great. Or for each of their different stages, 1 damage, which is great. And obviously you can get that multiple times, and with different bosses it even adds up to be more potentially. All right, so there's not a whole lot going on this round, so it's going to be a buff up, get some armor, unexhaust my skills as best I can, and go from there. So I get 2 stars. That seems to me like a good shielding move, although it might be what I do to unexhaust skills for other characters. Because remember, return a skill to a ready position. Well, I could just rest to do that, right? Also, so that seems like a better play. So what can I do? Maybe start armoring up some of my weaker characters. So this is rank 4. She's probably not going to get attacked. She doesn't really generate a whole bunch of aggro either. This one generates some aggro. This one generates a little bit of aggro, but not much. But right now I really want my tanky characters to be aggroed up, so or defended up. So I am going to do that. I'm going to spend these 2 to... This one's not generating a lot of aggro either. I think my tank, quote unquote tank, is the one that's gonna have the most aggro. So I'm gonna put these 2 on them, and I'm just gonna do this. I mean, my other option with him would be to rest and get rid of my aggro tokens, but nah, that's no fun. Although this character here, I do think I'm gonna have rest up. Well, no, he'll probably be attacking at the beginning of next turn, so maybe not. All right, I'm just gonna use the skill here. Boom, let's get a shield. So shields, the way they work is you can use them anytime you want when you would take damage to reduce the amount of damage you take by the number of shields you have. So if you have 2 shields on your character, and again, these characters can only hold up to 3. If you had 2 shields on your character, you'd reduce the damage by 2, and then you remove one of the 2 shields. So next time you could reduce the damage by 1. So we're going to do that there. This character over here is going to do literally the exact same. Oh, no. I want to skip this 3. That's why I rested this character. Boom. We're going to do that. We're going to do damage to a mob, but there isn't any. And so we're going to move down the path a little bit further toward the boss, getting us only 1 minion next time instead of 3. That seems better to me. Now, this is a question I have, and I don't know that there's an answer for it. It actually would behoove me to exhaust this card here and attack for 0, and I'm not sure whether I can do that or not. The benefit of doing that is it gives me +2 to all my melee skills in the future. So instead of getting +2, I'd actually have +4 to my next attacks. So I'd kind of like be preparing to attack. That's why I call this character my monk. They like hit and then hit harder and hit harder and hit harder. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if you can do it, but I don't know. I'm gonna say I can't for now and do this. I will hopefully get an answer to that question though before I do the final boss battle. So I am gonna just go ahead and get an armor over here too, because I don't want to unexhaust. Because I don't want to unexhaust these skills. In fact, I just get stronger and stronger the more of these I've exhausted. This one doesn't give me that benefit, but the others do. By the way, all of these shield skills also allow you to remove an aggro from your hero. So this character is doing the same thing. This is a ready up, but they do have an aggro, so they will remove it, and they are going to get 2 shield tokens, because 1 for the shield on there, and then I spend 2 stars to get +1 additional shield. So there you go. There is that turn. All right, I'm going to copy these dice because I may need more for stars later on. I'm hoping. This is wishful thinking here, that I roll a lot of stars here. But that's the end of that round, and let's move my leader to the next one. And just remember, this is kind of the tutorial boss. This is a little bit of an easier boss. Not that easy, though. I mean, it's not just like, lay down and die, easy. All right, so we're going to move this one. We're going to add 1 minion to the board. This minion has 4. It's another mini-mite. Apparently he was angry that we killed his younger brother, and he's coming for revenge. All right, so we get a soul. And we get a star. Whoops. Make sure it's clear where that is, because that is important. You don't want to mess that one up. I'm going to put the star over here. And then I'll probably use my token here too, so you'll see how that works. And actually, you'll see how that works right now. All right. So, as the first character, Shen gets to activate a card. So I'm going to activate this. This does add 1 aggro. So let's go ahead and grab an aggro. And then lets me buff or debuff something. So I could debuff him the way I had done last time, but it also lets me add a buff token to somebody. I'm going to actually add that buff token to myself. So this is a buff or a debuff symbol here. I'm going to add it to myself, but I cannot use it this round. Now she can hold up to a maximum of 3 buff tokens. Remember we talked about that earlier. So, but I am not going to use that buff token, but I am going to use this one. So if you read the bottom ability, I can do it up to 2 times, return 1 skill of any hero to the ready position. And I'm going to do 1 here and 1 with a buff token. So buff tokens are basically stars that last from round to round. Is the only difference between a star and a buff token. So I'm going to get to ready 2 skills. Did I actually want to do that? No, I only want to ready 1 skill. Because this character is going to do this. Oh, do I need extra damage? All right, let's see. I'm going to do 2, 3 damage. And then I only need 1 more damage. So no, everything works great. They're keeping the 2 buff tokens. I'm not using the second one. I'm just going to ready 1 skill, which is this one here. Serpentale, because this is amazing. This doesn't add +2 as these cards do. When you strike, add +2. It doesn't add +2, but it's 2 damage and it lets me stun something. Really cool, and it works really well in combination with these other things. So that's why this is my melee beat stick, if you will. All right, so that was 1 character down. Let's move on to the next one. She's going to rabbit punch. When she rabbit punches, she gets +2 from this one, so doing 3 damage. We can remember that for a half a second. And doesn't add aggro. Did this one add aggro? It did, but we already did that. Then this character is going to do... Oh, wait. I don't need to do an energy bolt because he's going to do an energy bolt. Well, doesn't matter. Doing an... no. Huh. Maybe I should have readied another skill so I could have done something. I don't need to move down the path. What else could I have used? I mean, I don't need healing, really. I guess I could have readied somebody else's shield. Huh. Why does it say 1 of 2? That's interesting. What is the other state for these? Oh, that's right. They had alternative art cards here in the main game. I forgot about that. Scale of the Dragon. Sweet. I mean, we'll keep that one as Scale of the Dragon. We'll keep that one alternative art. That has to do with one of these characters here, I think. I think that goes with him specifically. So that was a Kickstarter bonus. I was like, why does it have 1 out of 2? But anyway, all right. So who So we already did this. Well, he's gonna do an aggro. Oops. He's gonna get an aggro to do 1 damage. So let's do that. give you an aggro, and we will do 1 damage, which will take care of Mini-Might. If you remember, there was 3 from this attack, and then 1 more for 4. Let's not forget to gain our soul from that, because you got to have a soul. Well, there's no reason to attack over here now. That would add 2 aggression to myself, and I don't want to do that. I don't want the 10 life character to be the one that gets attacked. So we will ready everything up on them and remove 2 aggression counters. There are none, so I don't have to worry about that part. And we will move the leader down the line. Alrighty, so let's go to the boss encounter. So now we are fighting a boss. First thing, we're going to add 2 minions because it's said to. They do not have fire behind them, so they don't just ambush us. Interesting. So this symbol right here is stealth. Stealth means a character cannot be attacked unless there are no non-stealth characters, and the boss doesn't count, like, you know, any other minions that are not stealth. So that is stealth, and they have 1 life and 2 life, so that's not bad. Normally they're hard to kill because you got to kill everything in front of them first, but these aren't too bad. This one's going to exhaust 2 cards from a character, and then remove all the characters that have the highest aggression. They remove their aggression by 1. So if you're like building up a character with a lot of aggression, like, oh, they're going to tank for me. Well, maybe not, because the pit snake might take away their aggression and make them be the target. And this one is 2/2/2. Now you notice this little green crown up here. That means they ignore normal targeting priorities, and they're going to attack the person with the leader token. So they would attack Kukurito over here. So for 2, then 2, then 2. 3 different attacks. All right, so how does the boss activate? Well, we shuffle up. There are 4 kind of generic boss cards. That is one of them. That is another one of them. And then there are 4 boss specific. So this is boss 0, card number 1. And you put them in order from lowest to highest rank. So again, this is boss 0, card number 7. So this is card 1, 6, 7, 8. That's how you determine the order for the first phase of the boss, because that's what we're fighting. So we are fighting stage number 1 of the boss, then we go 2, then 3, obviously. Each time we defeat a stage of the boss, they will not activate that round, but what they will do is spawn more minions in the beginning of the next round. So this one's going to attack for 4. If we debuff it, it'll only attack for 2. This one's going to exhaust 2 cards from this player. If we debuff them, again, it would debuff the entire card. It would exhaust 2 from not that player, but the person with the most aggression tokens. I really don't want to exhaust my cards for nothing, but, you know, it is what it is if I have to. A debuff wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But I want this character. So now we're going to look at this skill here. And this character, remember, has Empower 1, which means they can do these abilities 3 times. This does 1 damage. Right now, it could do it to 2 different targets. In fact, 3 different targets, because we have 3. 1, 2, 3. But I want to do more damage also. So if I add a sword to that, I believe the way it works is it's going to do 2 damage to all those different targets, which seems pretty good. So I need at least 1 star, or, I mean, I don't have a buff token on, so I got to really hope I roll a star here. So this is where there is a little bit of luck in your planning. You're hoping for a star, but you might not get one. Instead, boom, boom, boom. So this is 2 stars and roll again. 2 stars and roll again. So you've noticed earlier, I wasn't getting any stars, and now I get a bunch of stars. All right, so that's 2 stars, 4 stars, 5, 6 total stars, and you can split those however you want. All right, so I need to hit 3 targets with this character, right? I'm going to try to do as much damage as humanly possible. So I need to hit 3 targets. So that means I need to use 2 to get +1 target. So that means I have a 3rd one to buff the damage. So I'm going to be doing 2 damage to 3 targets. So that's all this character can hold. We don't need healing or any of that stuff over here. So that is, by the way, going to take out both minions and do 2 damage to the boss. So the boss will have 2 damage, right, from that. +1 from that, so that's 3 damage. So I need to do 5 more damage. Well, guess what? If I rabbit punch over here, that's 5 damage on its own, because it's 1 plus I have 2 exhausted. That's 5 damage. All right, so this character does not need to attack at all. Oops, I forgot to unexhaust all their skills. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I am just going to blow up both things, I think, on this first turn. So I'm going to add some shielding here. I can only buff this once. It costs 2 to buff it, so I'll do that. And now I'm going to use a star on this also to give myself another buff token. All right, so these 2 stars are kind of wasted because this character is just going to rest. Okay, so starting with character 1. We are going to do 5 damage, and because I used a star, I get to add a buff token to myself. That was a star. Boom. So I get a second one, and I do 5 damage. All that's going on the boss. 4 plus 1 is 5. Boom. Yes, looks a little weird having a giant token there when I'm have little ones. So I'm gonna go with the little ones. All right, so that's 5 damage, and now my next attack is gonna go 2, 4, 6, 7 damage. Boom, boom, boom. That is amazing. Love it. Love it. All right. So this character is just going to add some more armor. So 1, 2 shields, and I do have to remove an aggression token. Does it say you must? Yeah, it says it says remove 1, so that's not optional. So I do have 4 shields on my tank, which makes him a little bit more tanky now because I can use that to, avoid my own damage that I have to suffer for using my skills as well. So it's not the worst thing in the world. All right, we said we're going to attack over here. That is 1 damage plus 1 for using this. I still have 2 more uses of abilities, so I'm going to do the 0 cost at the bottom, which gives me plus 1 target. So again, 2 damage to 3 targets. That takes out 1, 2, and 2 damage to the boss. 3 different targets, all gone with 1 blasty strike. Now, so I do move this over 2. I didn't kill the boar. I just got to the next stage. I just angered the boar basically. So this is gonna go here. So I don't get a soul for killing him. And as you see, I haven't even gotten to the top of the track once. But when I do, there's some pretty cool abilities here. Let's talk about those real quickly. This is deal 4 damage to all mobs, not the boss. And no souls are collected this way though. But so in order to do that, you have to rest. So get rid of all the aggro, unexhaust the cards, and use all of your souls. So you have to be at the top to do it, and then you get to do it. So I could do that 4 to everybody, or I could remove all shields from the boss and deal 4 damage to the boss, or I could add 3 shields to all heroes, including himself, or I could heal 15 damage from all heroes and revive any downed heroes without getting a penalty. Normally, if you get downed, you keep all damage on yourself, all other tokens go away, and then you have to get healed all the way until you have 0 heart tokens on you anymore. So this Holland would have to get healed 20 life. When he did, he would flip back over and be able to activate on the following round, but the negative is you lose a rank. And so that's why this is saying you heal everybody for 15 and you flip them over with no penalty. So you wouldn't lose a rank for doing that. Now, it's not a permanent loss in rank. It's just for that battle. You recalculate everything at the beginning of each battle because we're going to upgrade one of these skills after every single battle, which is really cool. Again, the leveling is definitely one of my favorite parts, if not the favorite part. All right, so I did defeat that form of the boss, so none of these go off, but I'm going to keep these 2 off to the side because for the final stage of the boss, we do go through these. So now we go through the other 4, which we didn't go through. This has got to be near the top. That's got to be right before it. That's 3 and 2. No. All right, had I paid more attention or had I been clever or whatever. Oh, so the boss is only going to activate this card, and then this will move down the row, and then activate each of the cards. Once they activate all 4 of the cards, it's going to come down here and activate. If it gets to here and is still alive at the end of this round, then your party immediately loses. So you have to kill each stage of the boss in 8 rounds. So if I had killed it here for the second stage, then it'll go right back to the beginning. So not the worst thing in the world. And remember, they still keep that damage because that came from a key. But we do have to put 2 minions out. These minions a little bit harder, but not too much actually. They only have 3 life each. That doesn't seem too bad. I know I can blow one of them up over here. This character's first. This one's going to rest, I think. That way he gets this ability back, so I'll be able to unexhaust these skills again. Oh, no! If I attack, if/when I attack with Serpent Tail, all of these things get unexhausted, which is not make me... Oh, wait. Was I supposed to move this? I was supposed to move this, because last round he was definitely first character. Yeah. So this exhausts a card, so maybe I want to get him aggression, but I can't. He's going to have 0, which isn't great. So, yeah, that's going to unexhaust all the cards. All right, so I don't necessarily need to do this, but he doesn't need to do anything else either. So I am going to do it and see where we go from there. All right, let's roll our 2 dice and see what we want to do. Boom, boom, boom. And what do these enemies do? So exhaust a card, not that worried about. So this is to everybody when they have these little green radials. So 1 unblockable damage, can't use shields to everybody. 1 more damage to everybody and 1 more damage. What is the boss going to do? He's going to take away 3 aggression tokens or 1. Not too worried about that. So it's going to change the tank, basically. So then it's going to do damage. X plus 1, where X is the stage number. Well, this is a stage 0 boss. Again, tutorial boss. So that's 1 damage. And then he's going to heal 1. So I'm not too worried about any of the stuff the boss is going to do. Let's worry about taking care of these. This is really the one. He's going to do 3 damage to everybody. I don't really want that. Again, I don't care about reducing aggression. Not worried about that. Exhausting cards kind of annoying, but whatever. Well, I'm gonna kick the crud out of it anyway with this. Yeah. So, let's do this. So I get 1 aggression token or aggro token. For those of you who have played like MMOs, you're drawing aggro there. 1 aggro token to deal 3 damage. Now I do take 3 myself. I'll just lose a shield for that. I feel like I got some shields to handle it, so that would have blocked 4 of that damage, and I'm going to get rid of the bloodsucker because I don't like bloodsuckers hanging around my neck of the woods. All right, so that gets me another soul because you got to have a soul. Do 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 do. Oh, this is from last turn, so this dice is now. Oh, I never distributed my dice. Let's figure out what these characters are going to do. Nobody has taken any wounds yet, so I don't really need to worry about it too much. Maybe I let somebody armor up. Oh, no. Oh, no, I can't empower that skill. Huh. Yeah, we're going to have my mage over here armor up. We'll give her both of those star tokens. So that means she gets to remove 1 aggression from herself. She gets to add an armor and a second one because she's empowering it once. So, boom, boom. So 2 shields. So now my squishy mage has 3 shields, which seems good. Are you just gonna rest again? I feel like that's your job. You're gonna rest up to let me next turn really unexhaust stuff from people. So we're gonna rest up over here. I feel like I didn't use that last turn. I feel like I forgot to activate this character, but whatever. I think I got so excited. Oh, I did. After she blew everything up, I forgot to activate this character. All right, so that changes a lot, actually, because I'm going to take 1 shield away from here, and I'm going to give 2 stars over here. This has 2 stars. Yeah, I forgot. This character would have rested. As soon as I blew everything up, because this was first character, I got so excited that I blew everything up, I forgot to activate her last round. She would have just rested, get rid of 2 aggro, and then unexhaust all her cards. Yeah, this is what I was planning. All right, I was like, something seems off. Why did it? I thought I was off by a half a turn. And that's the thing. The puzzle of this game is so interesting. Like, even missing 1 activation could really mess with, like, your whole plan. But I did that, and now we're going to do this. All right, so decrease so here's the other thing. As long as this card is exhausted, you get to decrease the damage dealt by mobs, not the boss, by 1 to a minimum of 0. So if this one was attacking, it would attack for 0. If this one was attacking, it attack for 0, then 0, then 0. So yeah, this is really good. So as long as this card is exhausted, it actually buffs us as well. All right, so we do get an aggro for that. So we'll add an aggro token over here. And then we have 2 stars. So we're going to use those 2. Oh, well, and we get a buff/debuff. You know what? I'm going to buff myself. Actually, no, I'm going to buff over here because I want to be able to hit for extra damage if I need to over on this card. All right, so I get to unexhaust. Oh, who's getting cards exhausted this turn? Nobody. Oh, this is the one. Yeah, no, rat men are going down. That's not going to be an issue. So I do get to unexhaust 2 cards because I had 2 stars. So let's see. And it can unexhaust itself. I'm going to unexhaust this one and this one. So now I get to do my heavy hitting attack again, and I get to rabbit punch, which will let me hit real hard next turn. Do I just leave these rat men? So who would they... I mean, do I really care? I don't really care. So who do they make exhaust a card? That's the real question. That I do care about. All right, so both of these characters have 1 aggression on them, right? So they would... they do that first things first. So they're going to pick the character with a lower rank, which would be this character. I don't care if he has to exhaust a card. I'll just exhaust this one over here. That's fine. So actually, I'm going to leave these rat men around, and I'm going to go after the boss hard here. Oh, that wouldn't defeat the boss, though. That's only 5. Huh. Yeah, that's only 5 damage. So that's not enough. So maybe I do just take out the rat men, and I take this out next turn. Maybe I don't unexhaust this. Instead, I'll unexhaust another one of these. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to unexhaust another one of these. I'm going to leave that card exhausted. All right. So as you can see, it's a puzzle, and that's why, like, thinking through every turn, that's one of the coolest parts for me. Like, if you're a puzzly person, you're going to love stuff like this. All right, so I'm going to do 1 damage plus the 2 from that. So I'm going to take out this Ratman, which moves me down this track another soul. All right, and the boss does have 1 damage on it, but only 1 damage. Okay. All right, so that is that. I am done with all my characters. Now back to the first player. So yes, I did not mess that up again. All right, so no. Okay, so I'm going to remove 3 aggression tokens from everybody who has the most. So guess what? That is only these 2, and they have 1. So again, that would change the target. So every character that has the most, they both had 1. If one had 2, one had 1, it would only remove it from the character at 2, changing the target. All right, so then you're going to do 1 plus the stage number damage. Well, stage number is 0, so that's 1 damage. So nobody has aggression tokens, so they look at the 2 people with the lowest rank, and I get to pick one to do the damage to. I am going to obviously do it over here, so that'll just be 1 damage, though. And then heal himself for 1. You say, well, that seems silly. Or for 0, why would you heal yourself for 0? Well, anytime you were debuffed, it would remove all your debuffs as well. So if they were at 0, they would get to remove those debuffs. All right, so let's move to their next card. Now, this one, they're going to do 2 unblockable damage to everybody, or if I debuff it, they're going to do 4 damage, but only to 1 target. And we add red token to the target. Well, what does red token do? Tells us right up here. And it's different for every boss. So even though these cards sometimes tell you to do it, this one is a boss-specific one, but sometimes then I think the non-boss-specific ones might tell you to add. No, they don't. Only the boss-specific ones do. But this is how the boss changes up also, not just the amount of life. So red is when you suffer damage, remove a red token and suffer 1 extra damage. So you get to get rid of it. It's basically 1 extra damage down the road. Again, tutorial boss. So what does the black token do? When you put a skill on cooldown, you suffer 2 damage. So whenever you use a skill, you suffer 2 damage. Now remember though, we have these cards here that let us, this one lets us move, and not only lets us, but forces us to move a token from one character to another. So you can move those around to make them not as bad. And then as you get some of these higher level defensive skills, defender for example, you get to remove a token from yourself. And actually then for stars, you could even remove more tokens from yourself. So there are ways to get rid of those tokens because they can be annoying at higher levels. The tutorial boss, not so much. And then you cannot use shields or your soul action. Your soul action, again, is this thing on the bottom. That doesn't happen that often, but not using shields is a potentially big hindrance for your character. All right, so that's why you'd add a red token. Again, it would be more damage down the road. And in fact, not far down the road, because right around the corner, then you'd be taking more. Ooh, add red to target. And here, the target is everybody. So everybody would get a red token in that situation. Interesting. All right, but we don't have to worry about that. We moved the boss down the track. We did not move our first player token yet, though, so we're going to do that. and get ready for the next round, and actually then this would move. It's fine. All right, let's see what we're going to do here. So we're trying to do 7 damage. This character can do 4 all by themselves, so I just need 2 more damage from somewhere. Could come from here, or could come from, well, they need to get their skill back to do that. Oh, 2 souls. So that's interesting. So I am right next to being able to activate one of my soul abilities, which is good because one of mine does 4 damage to everybody, to all mobs. That seems pretty good for this situation, depending on which mobs come out. But this character, you know what? Just going to rest up and get all their stuff back. And this character, same thing. I know it seems kind of goofy, but I really want to be able to use this skill next turn, so that way I can ready my heavy attacking skills for the next round. Oh, I don't have any stars. Oh, but I do have this buff token. Thank goodness. Is 1 enough? Yes. Okay. So it's enough to empower this skill. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to do 2, 4, 5 damage here. So it's 5 plus the 1 makes 6 damage on him. So I need 2 more damage to get to the boss's life total of 8. And then that's why we got this character. All right. So none of that required any aggression, right? Yeah. No aggro tokens from any of that stuff. All right. But this one is going to give me an aggro token. That's why I say this is my tank. Lots of aggro here. So it's going to be 1 damage, but then I can empower this once, and I'm going to do that with my buff token to do 1 more damage and suffer 2 damage myself. So I would have to suffer 2 damage, which is fine. I'll just take 2 damage. I won't use my shields yet. I'm going to suffer 2 damage. I got my aggro token, and the boss suffers 2 damage, or my target, which is the boss. So that would get him up to 8 damage, so we don't have to worry about doing these cards because that defeats this stage of the boss. Now let me not forget to finish the round this time, which is fine. I'm already done the round, so it doesn't matter. Boss does not activate. Any minions here would have activated, but there aren't minions either. So we are going to the next phase of the boss, and the way that works is they just take out all the generic cards. So we take these 2 out, and we are only going to use the boss-specific cards. So this will move down 1 spot. So I think the only symbol I haven't talked about is this one. This is like the rage symbol, and this means however much damage the character has. Oops, let's not forget your, oh, we got the one here. However much damage this character has, it empowers their attacks with that much more damage. So if they had 7 damage on them, this would be rage for 7, meaning this attack down here would attack for 7 more damage. So X is the boss's shields. Why is it? Times 3. After attack, remove all the boss's shields. Well, that's interesting because the boss, does get shields here with the hardening. All right. So the boss would have shields, but we have a whole round to remove them if we need to. I mean, it's not going to be an issue here. Like, we're probably going to kill the boss here. Now, we don't win immediately. We still would have to take out these other enemies. We got a skeleton and a metal commander. Holy moly. So the skeleton does 2 damage and then heals himself for 1. The metal commander heals everybody over here for 1 and then removes 2 aggro tokens and attacks for 4. Well, forget that, metal commander. I don't like you, but you have 6 life. I'd rather take down the raging boar over here first. But let's not forget to move this at the end of last round. We should have done that. And now we're taking on the last stage of the boss. I'm just going to blow up the boss. I mean, right here, that's 7 damage. So that seems pretty good. Or no, that's 8 damage. I could do ready one of these abilities and only do 5 damage and then have this character blast everybody for 2. Well, let's see. Let's see how this works out too. Oh, I did. All right. Well, that changes things in a different way. All right, so now I got my souls totally boosted up. I do have a star, so I could still blast everybody, although this one can do 4 damage to all mobs. I don't have to do it this turn, right? I would have to take my rest action again, which would just unexhaust all my cards. I don't even have any cards exhausted. Oh, I want to unexhaust some cards too, though. Well, I got 2 buff tokens for that. Why else do I have buff tokens, right? I'm not going to need all this. But sure, let's do it the fun way. We won't do it the the explosive way. So thankfully, this character, who is my unexhauster, gets to go first. So we will do that. We're going to unexhaust 2 skills from other characters. We will unexhaust this skill right here, and we will unexhaust that skill right there. And we do get to buff or debuff something, and I get an aggro on me. So let's put that aggro on. And do I want to debuff an enemy? I mean, I could debuff that heal there, or I could debuff the 2 damage. I mean, let's be honest, I don't need to do any of this. This is pretty much end game. But or I could give somebody a buff token. You know what? I'm going to give this person a buff token. So again, this symbol, this black symbol here in the right side of the card. Let's see if I can zoom in enough to show it. This symbol right here means buff or debuff any character. So you can buff your own characters or debuff any enemies. I'm just going to buff my own character on that one. All right, so now we're going to attack. We attack for 2, 4, 5 damage. Boom, boom. 5 damage done. This character is going to attack for 3. And I have to suffer 3 damage for that. So I'll change this to a 4. So let's see. That would do 3 damage. Believe it or not, I'm going to do this star on the bottom, so I will use my buff token to use that star on the bottom. I'm going to suffer 2 more damage. So I'll take this, get rid of it, and make this an 8 damage. Oh, and don't forget to add my aggression, which is 1 more. So 1 more aggression for doing this as well. So I have 8 damage on me. And I could have blocked any of that, by the way, with the shields. I guess I should have blocked 3 of that with the shields. But I get to do 2 damage to an enemy. So, I'm sorry, 4 damage to an enemy. Because it's 3 for the normal attack, then plus 1. I'm taking 2 damage to do that, but that's going to be 4 damage. You know what? I'm just going to use one of these to put 4 damage over here. And then, big blow up again. Boom, boom, boom. So we're using that Empower plus 1 to get a ability to use a 4th star on our turn. So if you don't understand how this works, let me go over it real quickly again. First of all, let me get my 2 aggro tokens. Have I been forgetting those? I might have been. See, this is what I said. With live plays, it's kind of hard. You make some mistakes. Again, I do 1 damage. This star is going to empower me to do 1 more damage. So that's 2 damage I'm doing. Now, I get the ability to use 2 stars normally, but my character lets me use a 3rd star. So I used 1 of those star abilities to use the bottom. And it's not stars. It's actually times you can use star abilities. So, for example, here I can only use star abilities once, but I have to pay 2 stars to do it. If this had a 2 here, that means I could spend 4 stars to get 2 extra shields. So just to make that clear. So I have 3 abilities to use, or 3 options or actions to do star abilities. So one of them is going to be to add a damage here. So that's 2 damage. Then I'm going to add, because I have 2 left over, 2 targets. So I get to do 2 damage to 3 targets. Well, let's start with the commander. Bye-bye, commander, which we don't get a soul for that. But guess what? 2 more damage here. Bye-bye. So we're going to just take that off, and the boar is defeated. So don't got to worry about the boar anymore. And then 2 damage to the skeleton. So there you go. The skeleton is still alive, though. I've got 2 tokens here, 2 tokens here, and both of them have the same initiative, so I can decide who the skeleton's going to attack. But the boar is dead. All the other minions are dead. Again, this is the tutorial mission, so hopefully it's easy. So the skeleton is going to attack, though. They're going to attack for 2, and they are going to pick the person with the most aggression tokens. We have 2 with the most, and then you look at rank for a tiebreaker. We both have 2. I'm going to have them attack Palisette over here for 2 damage. I'm going to discard a shield that blocks 2 damage. And so she takes none. Oh, by the way, I got to exhaust that. Got to get rid of this. All right. So she takes no damage. Then skeleton heals himself for 1. Very, very nice. All right. So as soon as I kill the skeleton, game's over. Let's move this to the next player. Nothing gets spawned. Nothing else happens. I attack for 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. Because that's 2 damage here. And then again, these are all buffing me by 2. Because whenever I use a melee damage skill, add plus 2 to it. So that's plus 2, 4, 6, makes it 8 damage. That kills the skeleton. Easy enough. Never had to use my buffing. Oh, let's do that. So he will use his soul ability to add 3 shields to everybody. So he takes a rest action, resets the souls. So rest removes 2 aggression, if we remember, and adds 3 to everybody. Well, they still have their maximum here. So his max is 4. His max is 3. So I can add 2 here, get to add 2 here, get to add 3 here. There you go. Everybody's got their shields. They're all shielded up. Then he can heal for 4 over here, or she can heal, I'm sorry, for 4. So that'll remove one of these. She can heal for 6. That'll remove this. They would get more aggression tokens as well for healing. So this one gets 1 aggression token. This one gets 2 aggression tokens. So there you go. End state. We're all armored up. We're all aggressioned up, and would be ready for the next round if there were any more rounds. So after this is all over, after we're done defeating the boss, what do we get to do? Every character gets to level up a card that... So before we go to the stage 1 boss, which is just a little harder, right? I mean, let's look. Stage 1 boss. It's a greedy mother. It's got the same, soul track that we saw before. It's got a little bit harder track over here, right? The keys are kind of near the end. You got some stuff that to deal with before then. You're going to start with 3 monsters. These abilities are all different. Their life is different. I mean, when you get to the final boss, they don't even add minions. They just have 18 life, and you go right into the boss fight, adding 4 at a time. 4 minions every time for every stage for all 3 stages. So I do want to do that final boss fight for you, but yeah, all their tracks are different. All their abilities here are different each time. But again, my favorite part of the game is this leveling up stuff. So let's look. We've got Serpent Tail over here, which I could upgrade to a 2B. All right, so let's look at 2B. So 2B is Serpent Tail. So I could upgrade to either of these. This would do 3 and stun the target, not a boss. It would add aggression, or an aggro token to me. And then for 2 stars, up to 3 times. So for up to 6 stars, I can deal 1 damage to all ally non-targets, even stealth ones. This does not stun them. Holy moly, yes. So I'd get rid of Serpent Tail. I would upgrade this. Now, that changes things a bit. So that's another -1. So I'm at +3, -1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm at -1. I look, that is still in the range. So even though I dropped from 0 to -1, I'm still in the range for rank 3. So I'm still rank 3. Let's upgrade this skill. I think I want to do that. Oh, no. After tutorial, you're not allowed to upgrade to rank 3s. I think I remember that being the rule. We can check the rule book. I'm pretty sure after tutorial you cannot level up to rank 3 if I remember correctly. So I don't want to get that wrong here. So intermission. During the intermission, heroes return to base camp and prepare for their next stage. Remove all the tokens, damage, aggro, buff, shields. Then the heroes level up once. Follow the skill tree to raise into advanced. However, advanced skills cannot be learned after stage 1, or cannot be learned until after stage 1 and on. After stage 0, you can only upgrade a beginner skill. Okay, so can't do that. What I do want to do then is, let's see, do we want one of these? This would do 2 damage instead of 1. It does add 2 aggression. Right now these don't add any aggression. I mean, I'm going to want to go down that path eventually. The question is, do I want to get some defensive stuff first? Nah, I'm not going to worry about it. He's not really getting attacked right now. So we're going to do this. We're going to upgrade. So what that does do though, remember how I said I wasn't getting attacked? Guess what might start happening? So I got 3 -4. So I'm still good. I'm -1. I was about to say, I thought I was going to lose a rank. Over here, can't upgrade this. Let's see what this other energy bolt can upgrade to. Do I want to do that again? That's an awful lot of damage. You know what? I want to get better shielding first. So he's going to go down. This, I told you, is my tank. He needs to be a little more tanky. Now, this side is not the tanky way to go. You remove an aggression from yourself, or from any hero, and then you add 3 aggression tokens to yourself. Doesn't do any damage. You could, for 2 stars, add a damage, or you can remove aggression from other people. So it just makes them want to attack you. I don't really want that skill. I'm going to do this. So instead of removing aggro tokens for myself, this will allow me to remove those black, red, and blue tokens from yourself, give you one shield for cheaper, and let you do it twice instead of just once here. So yeah, I'm going to become a defender, and boom, 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 it's got a higher number. So maybe that'll make a difference. All right, so we got 4 points. -5, so -3, -2, 4 points. So now we're at -1. So we're definitely not in the -3 range anymore. Why did I think I was in -3 anyway? All right, well, anyway, we're going to change this to here. I think I did that wrong anyway. I was only at, because this was isn't defense a 3? The normal one? Oh, man. Yeah, that's a 3. So I should have been at -2. Oh, I just made an assumption there that it went to -1 like everybody else. But -2, I actually would have been rank 3. So he is really more of a tanky character, intentionally so, right? So that actually makes a difference. Maybe I don't do this. Although, if I change Energy Bolt to another, like, Pyrotechnics, the problem is then I'll be at -6. So I'll be at -3. So yeah, I'm gonna upgrade my defender first. So I'm 4, so I'm at -1. And now Energy Bolt can become Pyrotechnics without me worrying about it much. Or Pyrotechnics can become, where is it? There we go. Meteor Strike, which does 3 damage. Same. It does add an extra aggression, but now you suffer 2 damage to do 3 extra. And you can do that up to 3 times. Are you kidding me? So if you have 3 stars, you could do, what is it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage with this Meteor Strike. Now you yourself will have to take 10 damage, but that's why you have healers, right? And speaking of healers, maybe we should boost up some healing over here. Or I don't know. Oh yeah, I can't upgrade that again. Yeah, maybe we boost up our healing over here. I think that's probably the smarter move. Well, let's see what the yellow upgrades are. So we could do crowd kill. Well, that doesn't buff or debuff anything. I want to keep some buffs and debuffs in here. Ooh, this one actually upgrades the healing. All right, so this is gonna buff 1 still, which is the same as the level 0 one. It does have a 2 there. I can't remember what the yellow one is. Well, let's kind of look. All right, so it's 1. It would move it to 2, so that may move my rank up, which is important. That's something to think about. Each hero that receives a red also gets a shield. Huh. So if you buff somebody, you also give them a shield, and you can buff up to 3 people. You buff 1 with this, and then you can buff it 2 more times. In fact, she, because of her skill, can buff it 3 more times because she has an extra empower here. Interesting. All right, and +1. So what would that put me at? Although I may need some healing. Like, they're not all as easy as this this first boss. So let's see if it makes a difference. So I'm at 3, and then if I upgrade it, that would be 2 more. So that's 5. And then -4, -2. So 5 -6 is -1. That would put me up. Oh no. So she goes from -1 to -2. That doesn't even put her up a rank. Yeah, so what would my healing do though? But would my healing make me go down a rank? And that's definitely not something I want to do. Well, no, if I go this, it actually makes it easier. And this is target all heroes. So this is a like wave of healing. This heals everybody for 2. Maybe I buff my healing first. I do want to do that yellow skill, but I think I'm going to do my healing first. So boom, 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 give me my yellow skill back. Because adding shields to people is pretty cool in addition to buffing them up. All right, so I think I want to move down the green path. Either that or I fortress up a little bit more. Oh, yeah, we looked. I'm at -1 still, right? So it's -5 +4. Yeah, I'm still at -1. So actually the ranges are different for the characters too, which is kind of cool. And I guess I did not realize as well as I should have. All right, so Cool Hunt. I'm going to upgrade that, I think. Let's see what the green skills look like. So I'm going to want one that moves still. The cool part about this is, look at this. For 3 stars, which is very expensive, you get to move a second space all at once, which seems really cool. But no. I said I want to go down this path with this character twice. Now the problem is, then I'm not going to be able to move as easily. So do I want to do that now? But it would allow me twice as often to untap cards, right? So that's a pretty huge thing. And continue to buff myself up. That seems too good to pass up, right? I could do it with both cards. Return any skill to the ready position. We're doing it again. You're getting 2 of these. You're my ready character. And every once in a while you'll heal. You'll ready my other characters. Now here's the problem. These are threat, 2 threat. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of threat on you. But you're going to be my Buffy buff character. So you let my other characters do what they want to do better. So that's kind of nifty. All right, so as you can see, there are many, many different ways you can go with this game. Each of the bosses plays differently. Stay tuned later this week. Like I said, I do want to do the final boss battle. I'm going to do it with these characters. So I'm going to save this, and you're going to get to see me fight even further with the same characters. It was a little bit of a quiet chat tonight, but that's okay. That happens sometimes. This was an unplanned stream, and it is Father's Day. Oh, by the way, happy Father's Day, everybody. So there were people watching, but that's okay. You don't have to talk every time, but we do want to see you chatting in every once in a while. I love interacting with the people out there. But leave comments. Let me know what you think of the game. Have you had a chance to play it? Have you even heard of it? I honestly had not heard of it myself until I played it. Mike brought it over, and he mentioned 2 games I actually honestly don't love. Here's a Terranoth and Warhammer Adventure card game. I wanted to like them. I liked a lot of the mechanisms, but they just didn't come together for me the way this did. I think being able to customize your own characters makes this game 100% for me. This is like what makes this game great. So I'm really enjoying doing that, and yeah, who knows, maybe I'll fight other bosses for you too, but I at least want to do the final boss battle and listen this Sunday to the One Stop Co-op Shop podcast, and you'll hear Mike and I review this game. But anyway, thanks for joining me again, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!